Welcome to Heroes of Might and Magic 3 No Unit Loss. We start off quite simple with the easiest campaign in the game, where we once and for all show that monarchies are superior to republics. Of course. Long live the Queen. The rules are as follows. At the end of combat screen, no units can be lost. This includes summons. Dismissing or sacrificing units is not allowed. War machines count as units. Resurrection is allowed. Quick combat is allowed as a time saver. And scenarios are played at the recommended difficulty. I pick up the first aid tent as a scenario bonus. On day 1, I recruit all the free units around me, head to town and recruit Adelaide, who has a few archers on her. I upgrade all the archers to marksman, leave the rest of my army in town and buy a spellbook, also hoping for the cure spell, but not getting it in this case. With Christian, I can take advantage of his ballista to make fights easier, which makes him a natural main hero. Splitting the marksman into more stacks makes fights against the upcoming hellhounds possible to do. If using a single stack, chances are high I would lose at least one unit, as at least one stack of hellhounds would reach my melee weak marksman. Since the building strategy I use needs a lot of wood, Adelaide's mission in the first week is to collect as much wood and gold from the sea as possible, so she's off to the boat. West of the starting town is the stables, increasing my hero movement for the week, making my strategy possible. Every chest is also used for experience in order to reach the max scenario level of 6. The first scenario is extremely easy should you not care about unit losses. You can literally rush the objective town and win super fast, only limited by your movement points. However, when not allowed to lose units, things become slightly more complicated. After a bit of trial and error, I found the most consistent strategy to be to rush Cavaliers and Castle in week 1, having my main hero in town on week 1, day 7, upgrading to champions on week 2, day 1, and then heading for the objective town with an army of just 6 champions. North of my starting town, I'm collecting some permanent stats, namely 1 defense, 1 attack, and knowledge, while also collecting more experience. Stats and spells carry over to the other campaign scenarios, so this is very helpful. By day 5, Adelaide has collected enough wood and gold and heads back to land. I park the boat in this specific hex in order to maximize movement. In case you didn't know, your hero loses all movement for the day when boarding a boat. And since my plan is for Christian to travel by boat to the west next week, this hex makes him able to reach land again in just 2 days worth of movement. Having collected everything he needs, Christian heads back to town. Still not quite level 6, but that will be reached before the scenario is finished anyway. Adelaide's new job is to help Christian's on-water movement by flagging a lighthouse to the west, and then to reach level 6 herself using the marksman like Christian did earlier. This specific boat hex is always reachable with the stables boost and cavalier movement. Your hero's overworld movement is based on the slowest units in its army, so I keep only the cavalier, my fastest unit so far, and Christian to maximize his movement. From here until I reach the objective town is smooth sailing. While Christian heads for the town, Adelaide is collecting as much experience and stats as possible. The skills I choose each level up has some logic to it, but I will explain more at the end of the next scenario. For the experienced Heroes 3 player, it might be obvious, but the skills are semi-random, so there is some luck to it, and the final skill trees for both Christian and Adelaide are quite bad. In the final battle of this scenario, if I'm too slow to reach this town, the AI would have built up to at least a citadel, making me take more unavoidable damage. This would make the healing from the cure spell necessary. In some trial runs using different strategies, the AI even built up to a castle, making it practically impossible to do this without losses, as the arrow towers do too much damage to heal up. The strategy in this case, since I don't have the cure spell, is to use magic arrows and the ballista to whittle down the ranged unit of the beholders. The other ranged unit, the Medusas, only have 4 shots, so they will need to come out and fight in melee sooner than the beholders. Now you also see why I picked the first aid tent as a bonus in the beginning, healing my injured champion up each round. After a few rounds of whittling down, the AI finally starts moving towards me. The AI forces are no match against my champions, making them easy pickings when we have completed the first scenario. Yes! Only 2 more to go. The next scenario, Guardian Angels, is easily the easiest in this campaign. The objective is simply to eliminate all Brown's heroes and towns, and to help us do this, we get a ton of free angels in the beginning, including an angel as a scenario bonus. The strategy is quite simply to just run the AI down with the angels. In this run, I sent Adelaide to exterminate the AI using only the one bonus angel from the scenario bonus, which is something I haven't tried before. But since she has the offense skill from the last scenario and a lot of spell power, I figured I could take the AI on with just the one angel. Christian then puts all the starting army in the town, recruits the surrounding angels, and then starts collecting resources for their later scenario strategy. The fights for the Portals of Glory are very straightforward. Surprisingly, the AI attacks Adelaide with the Soul Angel, and I didn't win in quick combat. However, due to her high power, I can simply magic arrow their forces down. We also see the power of the Angel against the low tier units. Simple victory. The AI has 4 towns in this scenario, one in each corner of the underground. 2 dungeon towns and 2 inferno towns. Both of these factions can have magic guilds to level 5, which might become relevant later. Trying to stop the AI from collecting too many resources in the overworld, I recruit a third hero, Mephala, whose only job is to flag mines around my town and collect stuff. Recruiting Mephala to do this means I can send Christian towards the underground, flagging mines along the way as well. Beating the AI on this map is usually very easy. They rarely attack, and if they do, some well-placed magic usually takes care of them quite quickly. Sometimes neutral fights are actually harder than hero fights, funnily enough. The main objective for me in this scenario, apart from the actual scenario objective, is to build up the magic guilds in the captured Inferno and Dungeon towns, and then to use the high level spells I get from the AI towns in the final maps of this campaign. This is why I chose Wisdom at level 6 for Christian, a guaranteed skill at that level. The spells I look for are some sort of AoE spell, like Meteor Shower or Chain Lightning, overworld mobility spells, like Town Portal and Dimension Door, and Resurrection. This makes all fights possible to do quite early as well. In order to get the time and peace to build up all the magic guilds, park one hero in front of the AI's last town. This makes it so they won't move, probably thinking I'm about to attack. Nonetheless, in every practice run I did, the AI's last town hadn't been built up, so I just casually let Adelaide stay with a bit of a weak army. In order to spare you from me essentially just picking up resources on the ground, trading resources to build up the magic guilds, and collecting some experience, let's time skip a bit. There are a couple of battles against Manticores and Pit Lords which can be a bit interesting. Against the Manticores, I actually thought the run would be over. In previous attempts, I've gone back to recruit more angels before taking this fight, so I was a bit worried. But for whatever reason, the AI just loves to focus the ballista, which probably saved me on this occasion. No idea why the AI has this ballista fetish, but it's really abusable, especially early game in whatever map you're playing. Then again, had the AI actually been intelligent, a no unit loss like this in this game would probably be impossible anyway. The fight against the Pit Lords is quite interesting as well, because it is such a high experience fight. Pit Lords can raise demons from dead friendly stacks, so when they split up like this, they can, in theory, raise 6 new stacks of demons. Thankfully, their stats are quite bad, both the Pit Lords and the demons, compared to the angels. So this is probably easier than it looks for the untrained eye. You get experience for killing the raised demons as well as the Pit Lords, which is why it is a high experience fight. This is the last neutral fight in this scenario, which can potentially kill any of my units, so it's good to come out of it unscathed. For the first time, with the hero stationed in front of the AI's last town, in any practice run, I was attacked. Quite exciting actually, because the AI never attacks if it doesn't think it has a good chance of winning. But this was probably just a desperation move of some sort. Good old Axis is easily dispatched of, and I continue with my plan. It does take a bit of maneuvering to avoid losing an angel though, as Axis has magic arrow available to him. Had I been careless, I would have lost an angel and needed to do it over again. Safety first. Which is why I cast slow in the beginning as well, lowering the odds of taking an unnecessary hit. It worked out in the end though. In the end, I'm satisfied with getting Town Portal, Resurrection, and Meteor Shower. Given that all of these spells are Earth spells, I can also make good use of the Earth Magic skill, which I always pick up on this campaign. I, of course, have to visit the towns containing these spells, but after doing this, I quick combat the last fight and move on to the last scenario. The objective of the final scenario, Griffin Cliff, is to flag all Griffin dwellings located all the way north on the overworld. Two enemies are present this time, brown and orange, but they are allied, as far as I know at least, have their main towns in the underground, won't attack each other. Starting with the Lion's Shield of Courage, giving +4 to all stats, the early strategy is to clear and flag all the mines using the starting army, Christian's Ballista, and the spells learned in the previous scenarios. Since getting to higher levels takes way more experience than lower levels, I pick up the gold instead of the experience from the chest in order to fund the scenario strategy, getting angels and running over the AI with them and high level magic. Getting gold income and resource income is pivotal, which is why I exclusively spend the first few days flagging mines and collecting resources. When I finally get my first angel, it's time to wreak some havoc. The layout of the map is quite symmetrical. There is one inferno town close to the roads on either side of my starting area. So I send Adelaide out to one side to explore and battle with her one angel. Since I got my first angel on day 7, the very next day I can recruit another one and send Christian to the other side. In order to have these two heroes be somewhat close in power, I keep the Lion's Shield on Christian so he can have a similar amount of knowledge and spell power as Adelaide. The risk of only having one unit on my hero is that should I misplay and that unit is killed, there won't be any opportunity to use Resurrect. So while this strategy is quite fast, it is not without risk. I encounter some AI scouting heroes, but since this is early game, meaning they have small and weak armies on an easy difficulty, there is virtually zero risk of losing these battles. I also make sure to build up to a castle in my main town, making me able to recruit 2 angels the next week. The assault on the underground starts off with Adelaide heading down the western subterranean gate, taking the first underground dungeon town. There are 3 dungeon towns underground, one west, one east, and one south. To the north is a dragon utopia, which is not something I prioritize. While Adelaide is having her fun underground, Christian is kept busy by a few weak AI heroes, one getting dangerously close to taking back one of the Inferno towns. But since the stats and spells carry over from the previous campaign scenarios, literally every battle is easy, until the more difficult neutral ones later. That is, until Adelaide gets attacked by Orange's Dark Storm, who is a dungeon spellcaster hero. Superior spellcasting, combat mobility, tankiness, and brain power, let's be honest, make the difference. Additionally, I upgrade the Portal of Glory so the angels can be upgraded to the more powerful archangels. However, in previous attempts, I've spent a couple more weeks collecting a bigger archangel army. Thinking I would do the same thing this attempt, I spent some time gathering resources, which turned out to be needless in this case, so let's just skip over this gathering part of the gameplay. The fights against the AI's heroes have been easy so far, but there are a few neutral fights later which can be a bit more challenging. In week 3, I town portal back to my main town to have 2 1-stacks of Archangels on both my main heroes. The Archangel's Resurrection ability is a handy backup tool should I ever need it, but their superior combat stats are a good enough upgrade in it of itself. Both the castle towns in the overworld are guarded by quite a large neutral force. Though, here we can truly see the effect of the high-level combat spells learned in the previous scenarios. Meteor Shower, combined with the tankiness of the Archangels, makes this trivial and a super consistent strategy to use. We get another demonstration in the fight before the second overworld castle town. The neutral army composition is slightly different, but the outcome is the same. It would be slightly riskier to use Christian for this fight, as his ballista could be targeted by shooters and the Afriti Sultans, but I wouldn't worry too much anyway. Had I actually been worried, I would have transferred the ballista over to Mephala for safekeeping. The only thing left now is to flag the Griffin dwellings. In order to reach them, I have to pass some garrisons, which have semi-hard fights as well, compared to the hero fights, that is. I'm fairly sure I wouldn't need magic to win these fights, but I might as well. The garrison on the other side of the map has a similar fight that Christian takes care of. As mentioned previously, the AI makes a beeline towards the ballista, once again proving just how much it hates the poor war machine. But no luck for the AI this time either, as the Ballista's 250 health is more than enough to tank a puny 12 Hellhound stack. There are a couple more identical garrison fights which I just skipped over, but we're not done with the hero fights. The last bosses await. Brown has a couple of stationary heroes standing perfectly still, probably hoping my vision is based on movement, but unfortunately for them, I decided to smack them around a bit as well. These fights are the hardest hero fights in this campaign, which may say more about the campaign difficulty than my skill. Ash's 80 Hellhound stack can be a bit intimidating, but as the stack decided to cuddle up to the 30 Horn Demon stack, the AI made my choice of spell easy. A couple of Meteor Showers, which is probably Inferno units' preferred way of cleaning themselves, let's be honest, and the Lightning Bolt, and Ash is defeated. And I completely forgot about this Red Dragon fight. Had I not had level 4 spells, Meteor Shower in this case, this could have been hard. Red Dragons are immune to level 1 to 3 magic, so my choices in the last scenario just keep paying off. The fight against Brown's last hero, Olemma, is a similar story to the fight against Ash. Meteor Shower, Archangels smacking with their swords, Lightning Bolt, finish with quick combat. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Visiting the Red Keymaster's tent opens up the opportunity to finish the scenario. Passing the red border gate, Adelaide gets the honor of flagging the last Griffin dwelling. And with that, I can say we finished the campaign with 0 unit loss. Long live my units, and long live the Queen. If you wish to see more of this type of content, feel free to give this video a like and a comment. I plan on working my way through the campaigns, starting with the Restoration of Erathia campaigns, then Armageddon's Blade, and then Shadow of Death. Can I do them all with 0 unit loss? Let's find out.